Hey, what's good? I'm professional shooting coach and skill instructor, Coach Colin Castello with Shotmechanics, and today I'm going to tell you how Lamelo Ball could make his jumper unstoppable.
NBA range. He just gets the defender to back up. He's got that deep range.
All right, so Lamelo has been absolutely tearing it up this high school season at Spire Institute. But one thing we've noticed is he can probably increase his shooting percentage with just a few minor tweaks. So what we wanted to do is go through this video because a few things. Number one, it might help him, but number two, it will probably help you on your own jump shot. So as we go through these tips, think about your own shot and see how it could help you. Because Lamelo's already a good shooter, but if he could be a little bit more consistent, he would be a phenomenal, deadly, unstoppable shooter, right? And so hopefully we can help him get there. But the very first thing we want to talk about is balance. Now, you've probably heard about balance a lot when it comes to shooting, right? Everybody says balance is important. We know that. But one thing we want to talk about is I think if Lamelo has his balance just a little bit differently, it's going to help him out a ton. Let me explain. Now, most of the time when Lamelo shoots, he has a tendency to let his feet slide to one side or the other, meaning as he's getting ready to shoot, his feet either kick out to the left or to the right. Now, sometimes it depends on which way he's moving. Now, a lot of coaches will tell you that you need to jump straight up and straight down on your jump shot. I don't necessarily believe that. I think he's okay with having his feet come forward, but we just want the balance to be going towards the hoop rather than side to side or away from it, right? So one little key that I noticed after breaking down a lot of Lamelo footage is when he's absolutely lights out and he starts cooking is when his feet start sweeping towards the basket, meaning as he's getting ready to shoot, he loads up into his jump. If he gets his feet going forward and his first step is a relaxed step backwards, that means that he's got it really, really dialed in. When he starts to miss a lot is when his feet start going to the side on the landing and he starts taking a sideways step. So what we want to try to do if we're Lamelo is we want to try to gather that momentum going towards the hoop rather than side to side. If you can do that, it's immediately going to increase the straightness of the jumper and ultimately the consistency. All right, so now we talked about balance. The next thing that will really help Lamelo hit more shots is his hip load or his power. Now, he has a tendency to miss shot shorts, which is totally normal, especially when he's taking some really, really deep ones like NBA threes. But what you notice a lot of times is Lamelo's getting ready to shoot, his chest is pretty straight up and down, and his hips aren't very loaded, right? So if he's getting ready to shoot, he's kind of like right here, where his chest is kind of up towards the basket. Now, the problem with that is your hips are actually one of the biggest power factories of your entire body when it comes to shooting the basketball, right? Think about hitting a baseball, power comes from your hips. Think about punching, boxing, power comes from your hips. Your hips are really that power source. So if Lamelo, instead of being straight up and straight down, could just load his hips a little further with his chest facing more towards the ground right here, just that alone would give him a lot more power and pop and allow his mechanics to be a little bit more consistent, right? He might not need as much of a thumb flick, or he might not need as much of a left-handed shot line like a lot of people have criticized him in the past, right? So it's an interesting chain reaction with shooting. Sometimes when you solve one thing, it fixes two or three more, and I think this is the same case with his hips. If you watch Lonzo, when he's really shooting well or good as well, he's the same way, right? So it's almost like in the family, everybody, if they get a little more chest load, they end up having better power and better fluidity on their jump shot. So next time you're watching Lamelo highlights, watch when he starts cooking, his chest starts getting a little bit lower, and I think if he could replicate that over and over again, he'd have more power, more pop, more consistency on his jumper. All right, so the next thing I think that could help Lamelo out is his shot line. Now, we've heard this before. It sounds like deja vu, right? It's the exact same thing we heard with Lonzo over and over again. And it's not really a huge issue right now, but as he gets older and as the competition gets better, it probably will start to be a little bit of an issue. Let me talk about it. So right now, as Lamelo's getting ready to shoot, a lot of times he brings the ball up the left side of his body with his hand directly on top with a flat wrist, right here. Now, a lot of coaches will tell you, hey, you got to get your hand behind the basketball. Hey, you got to get your wrist locked. I don't necessarily think that that's the case. I just think that he needs to get it closer to his correct shot line. Because right now, if he's over here on his left side and his hand's on top, as he brings it up, he basically has to have that offhand interference or it's going to roll off of his ring finger, right? So what I would like to see him do is just make a slight tweak, something more like Trae Young, where instead of having the ball on the left side, if he could pull it over, even if his hand's still on top, if he can pull it over even just a little bit to where it's in the center of his body, it's going to be much more straight when it comes out. So you notice that when he does tend to miss, it can be a little erratic. Sometimes it's left, sometimes it's right, sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short, right? I think by pulling the shot line over, it's going to keep it much more straight, much more consistently. So if we look at Trae Young when he's shooting, he's a really great example. You don't have to get your wrist behind the ball. You don't have to get into this, kind of perfect textbook shooting form. You can still have your hand on top of the ball. We just don't want to have it on the opposite side of our body, right? Because once we're here, we're out of alignment, things are going to start coming off, and it's going to be tough, especially as you get older against bigger, longer, taller athletes, right? So with Lamelo, all we got to do is just have him shift from here to here. I think if he can get it over about 5 or 6 inches just like this, it's not gonna change the comfort for him very much, but it's gonna probably give him big time results as time goes on. All right, if this video helped you out, hit that like button and then head to the comment section down below and let me know what you wanna see next. And if you're new to Shot Mechanics, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, that way you get all of our videos directly to you and you can get better every single day. Also, this video is brought to you by my guys over at Noah Basketball, the revolutionary technology that actually tracks every single shot you take and gives you a ton of data. So if you're a coach, a high school coach, or a college program, this is one of the best pieces of tools or technology you can get. So what they're going to do is they're giving you a free Noah Shooting Academy built by yours truly, where you can get free drills, free breakdowns, all that sort of good stuff to make sure we're dialing your jumper in right. So to get free access to the Noah Shooting Academy, all you gotta do is click the top link in the description down below and get instant access today. Again, I'm Coach Colin Castella. Thanks for watching, and until next time, splash on.